Okay.
Yeah.
What's up, people? Okay, let us know who we're hanging out with. Let us know who we're in the chat with. What's up, Styles? We see you. He says that time of the year where we're excited for preseason games. Okay, so the original plan was to do a Dynasty startup mock draft, but I don't know how many of you guys have been on Sleeper today, specifically in the last, let's say,
10, 15 minutes.
10,
maybe
15,
20
20,
minutes.
30 minutes, but Sleeper is bugging. It is bugging hardcore.
For us, at least on our side.
Yeah, and I put out a little tweet, and I had a lot of people who said that the same thing is going on. We had Chris from Fantasy Endgame as well reply and say that he was dealing with some issues over on with the Sleeper app. He says, anyway, everyone is pretty much telling me that it's down at the moment. Someone actually said they're drafting right now, like for real, a live Dynasty, and it's not working. So look, we're going to switch it up today. Okay, we are going to switch it up. We see a Kyle, what's up? We see a Carson, we see a Joshua. What's up, Jay Jangia? What's up, people? So we're switching it up.
How are you feeling, yeah?
Here's what we're doing today, a little bit different, but we are going to tier rank just off the top of our heads with no sort of research or any sort of backing.
Off the top of the dome, you know?
The best offenses in the NFL to the worst offenses in the NFL. So that's what we're doing today. Would we prefer to have done a mock draft today? Yeah. I'm sure you guys would have preferred that as well, but we are kind of in a position where without Sleeper, we're not really able to do that. So you can see here we have all the teams in the NFL, and we are just going to tier rank what we project their offenses to be like here in 2023. I remember last year you and I did a video on this, Badake, and we had the Bears in A tier, and we got roasted. People were like, "You're kidding me." Or sorry, the Lions rather. We had the Lions in A tier. We got roasted. People were like, "Ain't no way the Lions deserve to be in A tier." And people just couldn't see the vision. They couldn't see the vision, but
They couldn't see the vision, but look at them now.
yeah,
They love it.
yeah. What's up, Steele? What's up, Big Breakfast? Dynasty Life over Pat McAfee. I don't think we compete with Pat McAfee, but I appreciate that. But okay, without further ado, shout out to Sleeper for not working, because otherwise we definitely wouldn't have done this today. But here we are. We are tier ranking the best offenses to the worst offenses. And this is predictive, okay? Yeah, we can look at what happened last year. We can look at how many points they scored last year. But this is predicting what they will be in 2023. So why don't we start, and we'll just go through every single team, starting with the Los Angeles Rams. Where would you tier rank the Los Angeles Rams?
Rams. I would put them in B tier personally. I still think this offense is good. Obviously, they lost Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp in the second half of the season. I think this offense just bounces back, in my personal opinion. I don't think they are a terrible team. I think they're low-key contenders. At least they're a low-key playoff team. That's what I would say.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they're still a Super Bowl caliber team, but they definitely have the opportunity to go to the playoffs, I would say.
Sure. I mean, you look at the NFC West, it's tough in that division because, yeah, the Cardinals are, a disaster, but outside of the Cardinals, you still have the Niners and the Seahawks. But I would agree with you in the sense that, like, this is going to be a better team than they were in 2022. With Stafford's injury, that derailed them. With Cooper Kupp's injury, that derailed them. I just don't think that a team led with Sean McVay, with a healthy Matt Stafford, with a healthy Cooper Kupp, is going to be a team that wins less than 6 games, So
yeah, I agree.
I would say anywhere from like 6 to 7, 8 games is possibility for the Los Angeles Rams. I'm not sure that they sneak into the playoffs, but I think they'll win more games than people realize.
Yeah, I think so as well.
You can see some people giving their opinions in the chat. I love that. Keep telling us what you guys think as we go through this. Okay, the Arizona Cardinals.
F.
Yeah. I would say overall, I think the offense is going to be pretty poor. But here's what I'll say. This all really hinges on when Kyler Murray comes back. Because if Kyler Murray comes back, I know they lost DeAndre Hopkins, but even with just Kyler Murray, I think they put themselves into, at minimum, the C tier. But without knowing what will happen this year, with the limited amount of knowledge that we have, I would say, yeah, assuming Kyler Murray missed at least half the season, you're probably right. They are deserving of that F tier there.
Yeah, completely agree. I don't know what more I can say there. It's just an F. I agree.
Yeah. Okay, the Atlanta Falcons. Funnily enough, like through the air, they were easy F last year. Wheezy F baby, but I think they've improved. I would put them B tier.
Put them last year. You put them B tier, okay?
I would put them B, yeah.
I think on paper they're a really good team. Good defense, decent offensive line.
Only talking offense here though.
Yeah, I know. I guess like overall, I think I'll put him C tier for me.
You would put him C?
I'll put him C tier.
Okay, then we have our first poll that we need the chat to decide. Where do the Falcons lie? But tell me why you think they are C instead of B, just so we can hear your POV.
C for me. As much as I believe in Desmond Ridder, I think there's still going to be growing pains. I mean, we only saw him play four games.
Sure.
In the second half of the season, so maybe the first half of the season is going to be struggling. If I'm not mistaken, they won 7 games. I think this division is still wide open. I think they can win 7 games again, which I think for me puts him in the C tier.
Okay, in the C tier. Okay, I'm letting the chat do their thing. To me, this is one of those sneaky teams in 2023 that I think will be better than the average person thinks. If you look at like the Falcons offense last year, they were awful through the air, but on the ground, they were one of the most efficient running teams in the NFL. In fact, only the Chicago Bears had more rushing yards per game. So their offensive line is underrated. It's a good offensive line. You add Bijan Robinson, a healthy Kyle Pitts, along with Drake London. And yeah, if Desmond Ridder is even a top 24 quarterback in the NFL, I think he can project this offense into being B tier. But I think what's often misconstrued about the Falcons is that the offense is just bad. Like, I don't think that's the case. I think it's a good offense. It's just not a good passing offense. And if they can even be a top 20 team through the air, I think they'll be well deserving of B status.
This is what I would say. I think when we get to the point with all the teams that are going to be in B tier, are the Falcons really going to be able to beat those teams in B tier? That's what I would say.
Sure. I guess just like...
I know we're ranking.
Ranking offenses only, but yeah.
Yeah, I think when I look, like, for example, if the Falcons play the Rams today, I think we will confidently say the Rams. But there are...
No, not for me. I wouldn't.
I would say don't sleep on the Falcons, though. Like, don't sleep on the Falcons to not compete in that game. But also, would it be surprising to us if the Rams just take this easily? That's what I would say. If
the Rams and the Falcons played today, I don't know that I would put my money on the Rams to win that game.
Sure.
I think I would put my money on the Falcons.
If obviously with Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp all healthy, I think I would be.
Well, it looks like the chat has decided for us. 64% of people have voted C, so I have been outdone. So the chat has gone with you there. We'll leave the Falcons in C tier. Okay, the Baltimore Ravens at minimum A. Do we feel like we can put them in S tier? Because that would be projecting. Again, we are projecting what they will look like in 2023. New offensive coordinator, a bunch of shiny new weapons. S tier, I think, should be reserved for the elite.
I agree. I think we keep in May tier. Kind of like you said, new shiny weapons. OBJ, Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, Bobbin like I'm Dobbins is back and healthy. Lamar Jackson got a long-term contract.
Yeah.
I think this is an A team. This is an A team without a doubt.
I agree, but I think we could put the Bills in S tier. Who did they really lose from their offense last year that led them to be top 3 in points per game? The Bills were last year. They added Dalton Kincaid. They didn't lose any particular weapon. I mean, they lost Devin Singletary, but let's be honest. I mean, it's like Devin Singletary is replaceable. I would put them in S tier with Josh Allen and Diggs leading that team.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think we need to spend too much time on the Buffalo Bills.
How about the Carolina Panthers?
The Carolina Panthers, I would put them in C tier.
I agree. Yeah.
Another team finally gets their franchise quarterback now. They signed Miles Sanders. I think they do have a sneaky wide receiver room in the future. Obviously, if Terrace Marshall plays a big part, Adam Thielen, a good veteran guy, Jonathan Mingo, I really love out there as well. With Hayden Hurst, if I'm not mistaken. So I think this is sneaky. This is a sneaky team. I like the Panthers here in C tier.
I'm wholeheartedly with you for them in the C tier. Honestly, like I am completely with you in C tier. I know a lot of people in the chat are saying F, but we're in agreement here. I think this team will be better than people give it credit for.
Panthers,
I think they don't have, like, outside of Sanders, I mean, even Sanders, like, they don't have like a superstar weapon, but Bryce Young has a lot of good options around him. Hayden Hurst is a reliable tight end. Adam Thielen, if he gives us, let's say 16, 15, 14 games, he'll be a good option out of the slot. So I think he has good, reliable weapons, but no superstars.
I also have to say, like, remember this division. The division is wide open. There was 3 teams in this division that finished 7-10. The Panthers were one of them. I think they fall into this category easily, in my opinion.
Yeah, you're right. That division is just up for grabs. All right, the Chicago Bears, I would put them B tier.
I would put them B tier as well. It's Justin Fields, DJ. I mean, everything. I mean, I can break down everything. The offensive line, Darnell Wright, DJ Moore. Yeah, Justin Fields a whole nother year. Everything is going to improve in this offense, and I'm really excited. For me, if I have to say Bears versus Falcons or Panthers, I'm easily taking the Bears in my personal opinion.
Yeah. Same.
So I like the Bears here in B tier.
Earlier we talked about how Atlanta was a great rushing team. Well, Chicago was about 20 yards per game more than any other team in the NFL, just under 20 yards more per game than any other team. So they were already the best rushing team with Justin Fields. Now you add Rashawn Johnson there. I know you lose Monty, but Rashawn, Herbert, Foreman. And then we can't underestimate what DJ Moore means to this offense, because I think he gives them finally a reliable target, a reliable weapon. Okay, the Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, if this team is healthy, why would they not be S tier?
Yeah, I think this
Agreed?
is definitely one of the teams.
I would say they're a better offense than the Bills.
Yeah, I would say so. I think that they have a lot more weapons than the Bills. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
I think which makes them the better offense, so I would agree.
Yeah, okay. I'm glad we're on the same page. Anytime you have Higgins and Chase in the same wide receiver room and Joe Burrow in the quarterback position, you're going to be fine. All right, the Cleveland Browns.
Oh, boy.
This might be the first time I'm really uncertain, because I feel like there should be like an A. There should be a tier between A and B.
I agree. This is what I would say. The Cleveland Browns will be the last team in this A tier.
The last team in A?
The last team in A.
Breakfast said B.5.
The B.5. It's just this team this team on paper, I think it's really great. The offense, I think, takes a big step. Deshaun Watson, even we just made a video. The offense, the PFF passing offense was a top 12, top 8 passing offense of the 2 years. I think in 2019 and 2020. I think that puts him into the A tier. I don't know. That's how I
am
feel
leaning
right now.
more towards the beginning of B rather than the end of A. I do believe Deshaun Watson bounces back, but I still think there are some question marks. Right? I think he bounces back, but I still think there are some major question marks. Just with that team as a whole, what the identity is, if it will mesh well together. So yeah, I mean Aaron's right. Browns could be anywhere depending on Watson, and I think he does bounce back, but there still is like that little bit in your mind where there is some slight uncertainty. So I put it to the chat. I'm curious what the chat thinks. We have 6 votes. Please vote in the chat. Let us know where you would lie on this one. But at the moment, it looks like we've got people voting for B. So maybe we'll leave that chat going and see what it ends up with. Cowboys, I'll put A. I'll put A tier.
Yeah, I'll put him A tier.
You got CD. You add Brandon Cooks. Tony Pollard will be Tony Pollard. Dak Prescott's, I would say a reliable, even though he wasn't so much last year, a reliable quarterback for your weapons. But I don't think they're better than the Ravens this year offensively.
Yeah, completely agree. They've had a top 5 offense for the past couple of years. So I'm happy to put him in A tier.
Yeah. Dallas, to be fair, was top 5 in points per game last year. Maybe we should flop those, but I just feel like projecting this year, I think there's a good chance the Ravens are a better overall offense.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, the Denver Broncos.
Wow.
A little bit stumped on this one.
I would put him in B tier, personally.
You think so?
I think the offense on paper is great. I don't think anyone can deny that.
Here's the issue. I think that the Browns, Rams, and Bears are clearly better offenses than the Broncos. I don't know that the Broncos are a better offense than the Falcons right now.
I would say
Javonte Williams won't be healthy to start the year. Cortland Sutton's not the same. We think Judy breaks out, but there's a lot of question marks there still.
I think that with the head coaching play and quarterback play, I think that makes him clearly superior to the Atlanta Falcons.
Well, quarterback play was not good last year, so I don't think that really works in your favor.
No, but the history of Russell Wilson works in the favor.
Sure.
The history of Sean Payton works in the favor.
But we said that how many games in a row last year?
I agree. I completely agree. I think when you think about the weapons and when you put Jerry Jeudy, Drake London, when you put Bijan versus Javonte, when you put Greg Dulcich versus Kyle Pitts, the Falcons on paper have the better team, have the better overall talented individuals. But I would say the offense that's going to be coming together for the Broncos is better, in my opinion.
Okay, so we would disagree on this. I would put them C tier just because I don't think they're deserving. Like someone said it, until they prove us otherwise, style's kind of exactly how I'm feeling. I believe in Sean Payton. I just don't know how I feel about Russell Wilson. I believe he will bounce back, but there's a ton of question marks there. A lot more question marks than I have around the Browns. A lot more question marks that I have around, let's say, the Rams and the Bears. So I put this one up to a vote because I would put them in C. I could easily see them being a B or even, maybe sneaking into the A category. I don't see them sneaking into A, but probably B. But I think there's a scenario here in which Russell Wilson is just cooked, and we've seen Sean Payton publicly state, hey, I'm not afraid to move on from Russ if we need to. So
yeah. It's going to be interesting. I think for me, it would be B, but I'm happy to see what the community thinks. I'm just going to open the door for Blaze 1 second.
Yeah. Well, we'll let you guys vote on that. Right now, it looks like 78% of people are saying C. You can vote in the chat if you guys don't know. And we'll let that poll kind of roll on. As Badake is doing that, the next team we need to discuss is the Detroit Lions. And I don't see how this team is not A tier. They scored the 5th most points per game last year. Mid-season or after the first 6 games, they'll add Jameson Williams. You add a dynamic running back in Jahmyr Gibbs. I don't think anyone is not arguing for them in A. I just don't know. Like, can we put them? Maybe we put them over the Ravens. Can you put them over the Cowboys? I don't know.
I just think they're in A tier. I don't know if we can put them over the Cowboys. I'm still going to be leaning Lamar Jackson personally, in the overall offense, but it is really close. No doubt about it. They're in A tier.
Okay, yeah, I would agree. By the way, that poll currently 77% of people are saying the Broncos in C tier. So we
Sure.
might as well go and leave them in C tier.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Green Bay Packers.
Wow.
You know, there's a lot of question marks around this team. If I'm putting the Broncos in C, it feels like I need to put the Packers there. I love Christian Watson. I love Jordan Love. I think they will be good long term. But you have to ask what they will look like here year one post Aaron Rodgers. You still have Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon. You'll have a good run game, so we can't put them F. But, you know, a lot of dynamic playmakers, a lot of question marks around offense. Where would you put them? I'm feeling C here.
I will put him in C tier. A lot leans on Jordan Love from what the question marks still are.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen a little bit of glimpses, but how does he really operate in a full season? Can he overcome, the adversities? Can he come back in the fourth quarter?
Yeah.
Can he get those clutch plays? And I think you hope and believe that for Jordan Love, which makes me believe to put him in the C tier. I don't know if the Packers can beat the Falcons or the Panthers, and I think this is why it's difficult, because I think the Broncos can beat the Packers.
Yeah.
But yeah, I see the pathway.
Yeah. So we're both agreement then C.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. C.
Okay. Honestly, I would put the Falcons over them at the moment. That's just my personal opinion. Okay, Texans. I think we got our first person to join the Cardinals, unless I'm missing something.
No, I agree. I mean, I believe in C.J. Stroud. It's just the offense around him. I love Dameon Pierce. What is John Mechie? What is X gonna give it to you? What is the Nathaniel Dell? Tank Dell. I'll be excited if it does kind of move up to the C tier.
Yeah.
But throughout the season, but for sure F tier right now.
Agreed. Okay, moving on to the Indianapolis Colts, who were one of the worst offenses in the NFL last year. Very poor play all the way around. Let me look at the amount of points that they scored. So only Houston and Denver, only Denver scored less points per game than the Colts last year. However, the context and the situation of this team is completely different now, right? New head coach, new quarterback in Anthony Richardson. Have to anticipate him struggling a little bit. I don't feel like it's fair to put them in F, but I don't think we can put them any higher than C. In fact, I think they're right around the Packers at the moment, offensively.
Yeah, offensively, I agree. I mean, with the weapons there with JT, Michael Pittman, it's kind of hard to put him in that F tier. With the people there, so I would put him at the end of C. I think once again, if I'm thinking about who's gonna win versus the Panthers and the Colts, I think I'm gonna lean Panthers.
Okay.
And I don't see them beating the Packers, the I don't see them beating the Packers or the or the Broncos. And that's what I would say.
Okay. Badake, I knew anytime we're going to talk about, the Packers, I know he's going to submit a super chat. He says, Watson over Judy, Jones/Dillon over Javonte Pirine in a top 3 O-line, getting back a top 5 left tackle, who really doesn't even want to be there. Like, Bakhtiari is such a weird character. He doesn't even seem like he wants to be a part of the organization anymore without Rodgers. But yeah, like, to each their own. I love Watson, and I think this offense could absolutely be in B tier, but we need to see it first. So, yeah. But I appreciate the super chat. Okay, the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is a strong B, maybe A for me when you add Calvin Ridley. I'm going to advocate for A. Last year, they scored the 9th most points per game. Trevor Lawrence had a breakout year. You add Calvin Ridley. Maybe this is how I feel about Calvin Ridley versus others. I think he is still one of the top 12, 15 wide receivers in the NFL. I think he projects this team to winning 11, plus games potentially in that division that's pretty weak. And I think he is the key to unlocking the next step for Trevor Lawrence. So again, we're projecting here. They were already the 9th best offense in the NFL last year. You add Calvin Ridley, who's healthy, who I believe will just pick right back up where he left off. I'm going to put them in A, but I'm curious if you would agree or disagree there.
No, I agree.
Okay.
I agree. I'm happy to put them in A tier.
Okay, cool. I'm glad we're on the same page then. Okay, the Kansas City Chiefs. Got to put them S tier, right?
Yeah.
No questions. Yeah. No questions there. Anytime you have Patrick Mahomes...
Anytime,
It's crazy because think about the narrative last year for that team, right? No Tyreek. Mahomes is going to struggle. MVS isn't the answer. This team's going to be bad. They're not going to make the playoffs. Nobody scores more points per game than the Chiefs last year. I think they'll be fine this year as well. Okay, the Chargers. What do you think about the Chargers here?
Ooh. I think new offensive coordinator. I think another fantastic wide receiver in addition with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. I think he has to go in A tier. Still Austin Eckler is still there. This offensive line is good.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert, a top guy. I think it has to be A for me.
Yeah, we'll put back into A. 12th in points per game last year. You have to assume that Eckler will regress slightly. Just like slightly, and when I'm saying that, I'm saying like he's not gonna catch 107 balls again. But you add Johnston, like you mentioned. Hopefully these wide receivers can stay healthy. If everything goes right, we could easily see this be one of the teams at the very top of the A tier. But we need to make sure that those wide receivers stay healthy. Really good offensive line though, so they should be fine. Okay, the Miami Dolphins rather. I feel like if we're putting the Chargers, we have to put also the Dolphins. Oh, that looks awful. I'm so sorry, guys. Aesthetically, that just looks awful, but here we are. I feel like we have to put the Dolphins in A tier as well. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, add Devon A-Chain. I feel like they're well deserving.
Agreed. This is going to be a great offense if Tua stays healthy.
Yeah. Tell us about it, because I can't live with myself looking at this logo. I need to change it.
Gosh.
I just can't live with myself looking at it. My creative juices are just...
Sure. Look, with this offense, I mean, Jalen Waddle, who is it? Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, you insert Devon A-Chain, or Dalvin Cook if he does get picked up by this team. I think this is a good offensive line. I know it's nothing to do with the defense, but the defense is also incredible. I think this could be a sneaky team that could, mind you, they beat the Bills last year. If I'm not mistaken, I think they split with the Bills. They played really good football last year.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, they also beat the Baltimore Ravens early in the season with Lamar Jackson. This team can compete. And I think we can see them getting double-digit wins next year. They went 9-8 this past year.
Yeah, for sure.
I think no doubt about it. They would have went double digits if Tua stayed healthy.
I agree. You add Jalen Ramsey as well. That will help your offense in some way, right? It'll keep you on the field a little bit more offensively. Chargers will be S tier. Yeah, I could see that happening, Silky. What's up? Welcome in. Okay, so let's talk about these Minnesota Vikings. And, I have called the Vikings a fantasy factory a lot the last month. And the reason is because offensively, they were really good last year. Defensively, they were awful. And I don't see that changing. So I think the offense is going to continue to carry them. Nobody except for the Lions gave up more yards per game to offenses than the Vikings defense. The reason they won a bunch of games last year was because of the offense. Jefferson, Cook, Kirk. You remove Kirk, Madison is here, but you add Jordan Addison, who I think will make a huge impact. You add TJ Hawkinson. To me, they're deserving of being in the A tier.
Okay. I'm not going to disagree there. It's hard to argue against them going into the A tier. I agree. They are deserving to be here.
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad we're on the same page. The New England Patriots.
Here we go. I mean,
I don't know what to say.
This is what I would say. And I feel like people are going to be upset, but I think they're F tier.
It can't be that bad.
I
would put them C.
Anything. They haven't done anything to improve their offense. They do have Mike Gesicki. If they do bring in DeAndre Hopkins, we can have another conversation. But you lose Jacoby Myers, you sign Juju Smith. In reality, do you want Juju or Jacoby? I honestly don't know. You have Tyquan Thornton that has done nothing so far.
Who's injured? Who's injured?
And you have Kendrick Bourne and Devonta Parker. This offense was already terrible last year.
Kendrick Bourne literally said in an interview that he didn't try his best last year.
Yeah.
He literally said, like, I didn't try my best. What?
Just to give my,
you're giving an interview saying you're not going to try your absolute best? So what are you doing? You want to be hated by the fan base?
I would say this. I love Ramondre Stevenson. If DeAndre Hopkins comes onto this team, it's a C tier. But I don't see them really moving up significantly. If they would have drafted an Addison, they would have drafted a Zay, and then got an OBJ or DeAndre Hopkins, they could potentially be B tier. One of the biggest conversations we've had, arguments we had, is that Mac Jones, look what he's done at college at Alabama with the weapons around him. Mm-hmm. He has no weapons, and he still has no weapons. I think that's the biggest thing here.
I hear you. However, I don't think the offense got worse losing Jacoby. I don't think they got better adding Juju. I just think they're a very similar offense. What I will say is that with Bill Belichick leading any sort of team, I can't put them in F personally. And they were middle of the pack. They were literally dead middle last year in points per game at 16th most points per game. So to me, I just feel like if Bill Belichick is leading any team, it could be freaking Brian Hoyer starting for them. I don't care. I think they're deserving of being in C tier. I think Bill Belichick's going to get the most out of these players that he's brought in. So I would put them C, but that's why I've put it in the chat. Please vote in the chat. You guys will ultimately decide this one, and it is close. 7 votes in the chat right now, and 57% of you saying C, 43% saying F. Yeah, make sure you submit your votes in there. But yeah, we're so offense biased in fantasy. Pats won't be bottom 5 in the season. Yeah, in offense, I kind of agree there. But look, let's put them in C for now, and then if the chat decides, because ultimately they'll be the tiebreaker, that they want them in F, they'll vote that way. Okay, how about the New Orleans Saints? So I will say this. I feel like you're in a better position than you were last year. And I know that sounds crazy because Michael Thomas is a year older. Alvin Kamara is a year older. And as mid as Derek Carr is, he at least gives you relatively decent offense, right? I mean, most years he's had the Raiders as a top 16 offense in the NFL. They've been pass happy. This is better than Andy Dalton. This is better than Jameis Winston. I feel like they have to be at least C tier. Like, I would put them right behind the Packers.
I would put him in C tier. I think, I'll put him C tier.
Yeah. Okay. Same page.
That's what I would say.
Okay, the New York Giants. Why don't you take this one then? It's your team. Where do you think they should be?
I think they are deserving to be in B tier personally.
Okay.
This offense, everything around them gets better. Now, who is the true number 1 wide receiver? I'm not sure, but it's still talented people there.
I know who it is.
You know who it is?
Yeah.
It's Darren Waller.
It's Darren Waller.
But you bring in Darren Waller. The offensive line gets better. Not only another year with Evan Neal, and you get John Michael Schmidt. I know Jalen Hyatt is not sexy, but hey, he's a deep threat. You bring in Paris Campbell, Wanda Robinson, Sterling Shepard, Saquon Barkley. I mean, it's nice. And I don't think we were terrible last year. And as an overall offense, we can definitely do better, and I think that's exactly what we are going to do. We're going to be better. And the games that we won last year were pretty difficult, right? I mean, we beat the Packers, we beat
Yeah.
the Ravens in front. Like it was a lot, but hey, as honestly up to the community. This is where I would put him.
I
think,
agree with you. I'm with you in B tier
Yeah.
here. I think the offensive line is continually improving. You will figure out the situation with Saquon. Guys, I know Saquon is saying he could potentially hold out. I don't see that happening. Did that work for Le'Veon Bell? Come on. Like there's just no way that Saquon and Josh Jacobs are actually going to hold out this year. These teams will figure something out. Saquon will be there. The offensive line's improving. Daniel Jones career year. Brian Daboll. You add in Darren Waller. I think this team is deserving of B as well. Okay, the New York Jets. You know, I think with Aaron Rodgers, they're deserving of being A tier.
Yeah, I agree.
I would probably take them. Man, I mean, really, I feel like between the Dolphins and the Vikings, I feel like you could choose any one of those teams there. I have a feeling we should move the Cowboys up. What do you think about that? Scored the 4th most points per game last year. They lose Zeke, but is that really hurting them? You add Brandon Cooks. I feel like they're deserving of S tier.
You can. I just think that when we really have the teams there all together, I don't think it feels a bit weird to have them up there when we essentially, I think, was the only team that's probably missing in the S tier will be the Eagles.
Sure.
So that's
Okay, fair.
But I'm happy. I'm happy to see how it feels.
We'll leave them where they are for now then. Okay. Anything you want to say on the Jets?
No, I think they are deserving an A tier. Extraordinary team here with Aaron Rodgers now. Great offensive line, great weapons all around as well. We just never seen Aaron Rodgers with a new offense, with the new weapons. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
But they've done a lot to help him transition. Nathaniel Hackett, Alan Lazard. So it's gonna be great for this team.
Yeah, I mean, this is a good question from Aaron. Would you really pick the Cowboys over the rest of A tier head to head? No, I wouldn't. But I would pretty confidently pick the Cowboys over almost every team in A. That's why I'm struggling. But yeah. Okay, let's talk about the Raiders. This is a really confusing team. By the way, it looks like Patriots 55% in C, so we're going to leave them there.
Yep.
According to the community, to the chat. Okay, so the Raiders. What do we do with the Raiders? Because I think Jimmy G will be healthy and ready to go for the season. He's a fine quarterback. He's nothing special. But it feels wrong to put them F when you have Josh Jacobs and Devontae Adams. You know, I feel like they have to be C. Like, I'm taking the Raiders offense over... I'm probably taking them over the Saints.
You see, like, I don't see that. I don't see the Raiders. If there was one team I would be shaky in the C tier for the Raiders, I would say it would be the Colts, which I already, in my mind, I had the Patriots down in F. So
Right.
now I look at the overall team. JC Horn I know once again is more offense. JC Horn or Devontae Adams. I just think that like there's opportunity for them to lock these people down and not really win that game.
We're only looking at offense here. Again, only looking at offense. But I just don't see how we put, as much I love Bryce Young, you know, he's been my quarterback one throughout the entire process. I don't know how we put a rookie Bryce Young over Jimmy, who's fine, but more importantly, Devontae Adams and the rushing leader of last year, Josh Jacobs.
Sure. I mean, if I had to say that, this is what I would say. I'm not sure if the Raiders can beat any of the teams that they're ahead of right now. That's what I would say.
You don't think the Raiders could beat the Colts, the Patriots, or the Panthers? I think they could.
I would question. I truly would question.
Well, are you saying you want them in F tier then?
I would put them in F tier.
Okay, then let's leave this up to the chat then.
I think that if they didn't put Patriots in F tier, then they wouldn't put him in F tier.
I just don't see how a team with Devontae Adams and Josh Jacobs is F tier. That's where I'm struggling.
Sure.
So let's see what the chat thinks. Let us know, F or C. But as that's going, we'll talk about the Eagles. Definitely deserving of S tier. I mean, probably them and the Chiefs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree there.
Not really much to talk about with that one. Okay, so the Steelers.
I know where I would put them.
Where would you put the Steelers in?
This is my breakout. It's like my breakout team. I think everyone's going to do phenomenal here. I think this is going to be a B team.
Okay.
I see them taking it to the next level. This offensive line gets better. They still went positive last year, going 9-8. Kenny Pickett his second year. George Pickens, Deontay Johnson, Pat the Dragon, Najee. The offensive line gets better as well. I think Kenny Pickett takes massive strides coming into this year, and I feel really confident. I feel really confident saying that they can beat everyone here in the C tier outside of the Broncos. I think the Broncos could potentially beat them because I'd rather have them in B tier, but that's just me.
Yeah, I would say the Broncos and Falcons could go toe-to-toe with their offense, but I'm not really willing to, let's say, advocate for them strongly. Okay, the 49ers. I mean, really, it's like, what is the quarterback play going to look like? We don't know at this very point who it will be, but you got to be deserving of somewhere probably right near the Cowboys, unless I'm going crazy here. You got CMC, Debo, Kittle, Trent Williams, one of the best offensive lines. I mean, they've got to be A. Am I missing something?
I think they
scored
are
the sixth most points per game last year.
I personally think they are A. It sounds crazy to say this, and I know a lot of people will hate this. I think they're A with Brock Purdy, and I think they're B with Trey Lance. That's what I would say.
I mean, I disagree, but that's fine.
Yeah, I know, and the only reason why I'd say that because I haven't seen much from Trey. It's really difficult to really envision him. Brock Purdy just feels like the guy that truly fits this offense better than Trey, but it's hard to say because I haven't seen Trey. So, that's what I would say.
Yeah, people are suggesting that we need a tier between S and A, and I think I agree with them. And just to stick to tradition, we'll call it Cinderella. Sure. And I think Cinderella probably is deserving of the Cowboys, the Niners, the Ravens.
I personally would say
maybe just the Cowboys and Niners. I feel like we gotta put Ravens in there.
I feel like we gotta put Ravens over there as well.
Are we happy with this?
I don't know, man. I think it's tough. I think one team that can be sneaky Cinderella that, according to this tier, may not be the same. I think it'd be the Dolphins. That's what I would say.
Oh, I would take the Jags and Lions over the Dolphins.
Yeah, I think for me, I would I don't know if I could take the Lions over the Jags. I mean, the Lions over the Dolphins, but I would take the Dolphins over the Jags. Which makes it difficult to not. That means we have to either put the Lions and the Dolphins up top. But I'm happy.
Yeah, well, I think that just leaves uncertainty, so let's leave it.
But that's what I would do.
The Seattle Seahawks. Where are we putting the Seattle Seahawks? Hard to not put them A. I don't know. I mean, let me know what you think, but you add JSN to this team. Geno Smith, most accurate quarterback in the NFL last year, one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the NFL last year. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Zach Charbonnet added to the scene with Ken Walker. Feels like they're a solid A. Yeah.
Offense gets better, with Jackson Smith and Jigba. So I'm happy to put them in A tier.
Okay, the Tennessee Titans.
For me, this is B.
B.
I'm not sure where everyone else feels. but I still think they are a decent contending team that's going to win 7 to 10 games.
I'm a strong C. I'm a strong C.
You're a strong C?
Strong C. And I love Treylon Burks. I think he will break out this year. But I still think they're a strong C. I don't think they're a better offense than the Broncos. I don't think they're better than the Falcons. I don't think they're better than the Packers. I think right here around like the Saints, Raiders is where they belong, in my opinion. Derrick Henry, another year older. I think Treylon, again, I think he'll break out, but there will still be uncertainty around quarterback. What will happen with Tannehill? What will happen with, Will Levis? I don't know. I will put them C there.
Yeah, I mean,
let's put it to a chat vote, maybe.
I'm happy to keep it in C personally.
Okay.
And the reason why I have them in B is because I can see them beating the Falcons. Personally, once again, I have Broncos. I would rather have the Broncos in B. But I'm happy to keep him in C. I feel like one of these teams in C have to go up. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's just way too many teams there that means all these teams can go like.
I would be happy to advocate. I know you want the Broncos, and I originally wanted the Falcons. So I'd be happy to move those two teams up.
Sure. And I'm happy to, because I think the Titans can beat the Colts, the Panthers, the Raiders. I think maybe they are in C tier because it will be shaky for the Packers, I would say.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm happy to do that.
Okay. The Tampa Bay Bucks. I really don't know how they are not F, but I could be wrong. Am I wrong? Maybe they're top of F because they still have really good wide receiver core.
I mean, wide receivers, running back. On paper, their team feels like they have a lot of opportunity with outside of quarterback. That's what I would say.
Yeah. Aaron says lowest scoring team in the league last year. As we said at the beginning of the stream, we are projecting what offense would look like this year. We did this last year and we had the Lions as an A tier. We got laughed at. It's not about what only happened last year. It's about projecting this year. Sean Payton is not going to let this team want to be one of the lowest scoring teams in the NFL. Sean Payton took over the Saints in 2004, was it? They were one of the worst teams in the NFL. Second worst team in the NFL. They turned them around and made them into a playoff team. So I think we should have a little more trust in Sean Payton personally. And then the only team that is left is my Washington Commanders.
Oh boy.
And I think if we were rating teams, maybe it's a little bit different, but I think we have a lot of firepower on offense with Brian Robinson, Antonio Gibson, Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson. Everything is obviously relying upon the key cog being Sam Howell, but I think we will be as good, if not better, than, let's say, the Panthers. I would probably put us right by... I think maybe, is that too high, putting them right there between the Saints and the Titans? Maybe that's a little bit projecting, and maybe I'm too biased because it's my team, but I just don't think that a team that has Terry, Jahan Dotson, Gibson, Brian Robinson is deserving of F.
Yeah, I mean...
What do we think?
Your team did well last year. That's what I would say. I would put him in C tier.
Okay.
I think I would say, in my opinion, they would be... Actually, you're right. I'm happy to keep him there. But that's because I don't have the Raiders high. That's why. So I'm happy to keep him in C tier. Okay. I would put them above the Raiders.
Okay.
That's what I would say.
Okay.
I'm still a believer in the Titans. I know a lot of people don't love that team, but I think we all talk about Chig, we talk about Treylon, Derrick Henry's still there. I still think this team is a good team for the Titans.
Sure, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
So I think what we should do here is let the chat vote on adding one team to the Cinderella tier. Who do you want to add to Cinderella? Okay, so guys, be ready to vote. We're going to put the Lions there. We're going to put the Jags there. We're going to put the Dolphins there. And we'll put, I guess, the Chargers I feel like those are the three teams, though. Maybe we shouldn't include the Chargers. I don't know, just for the sake of it, we'll include them.
personally think, yeah. Well, I won't say I don't want to influence.
Yeah,
but
exactly. I don't want to influence either.
I know
this is the community's
what
vote.
Team I would put. I know what team I would put up.
Okay, go ahead and vote in the chat, guys. If there's one team that you think is deserving of joining the Cinderella tier, who is it? Go ahead and put your votes now in the chat. And by the way, do us a favor, drop a like on the stream if you have yet to do so. We mentioned this at the very beginning of the stream, but unfortunately, Sleeper is down.
I think it might be back up, but we're not going to do a draft.
Yeah, it was down when we decided to go live, and unfortunately, we had to switch it up. But I hope that you guys enjoyed, I guess, this stream and hanging out with us, hopefully. As that poll is getting votes, 14 votes right now, 40 people watching. So make sure you submit your votes in the chat. And Drusiv, he says, he has been a member now for 13 months.
That's awesome.
So shout out to you, Drusiv. Thank you for the continued support. If Jameson was starting week 1, I might have voted different. ABC says, I think that's fair. That's fair to feel that way.
Purely offense, where you think this team can go. So we celebrated anniversaries.
I love it.
Appreciate you,
T. Gray and Drusiv. I'm pretty
love.
sure you guys signed up on the same day. I could be wrong, actually. Okay, so at the moment in the poll, we have 16 votes, 38% Jags. So it might be the Jags moving up here, but let's see. JGM says Steelers offense should be an F. Kenny was awful last year. Even factoring a jump in shouldn't be above C. I'm a little bit more hesitant on the Steelers as a whole, but Badake, he's got a lot of belief in them. So
I have
just kind of let him have that one there.
In the second half of the season, Kenny Pickett PFF grade was I don't remember this off the top of my head, but he was a top quarterback in the second half of the season and last season. You got to remember he was struggling. He was struggling with concussions. He didn't even get the full start the whole season. It was Mitch Trubisky, a whole nother year under this offense. One of the biggest things is that the offensive line was terrible. So
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, that's what people were saying about. Well, I'm not gonna put it to like. I'm not gonna compare it, but a lot of people were saying like, Jalen Hurts was bad. Daniel Jones was bad. Obviously, these are all different talents, all different teams, but we are
Fox Sports.
Yeah, we are Fox Sports. But hey, each of their own. We'll see what this offense looks like. That offense, they won 9 games last year.
Finished the year 7-2.
7-2.
Mm-hmm. Finished the year 7-2.
Yeah, exactly. And they were 9-8. So I mean, I don't understand how he maybe in your opinion he's bad for fantasy, but as an overall offense, I think he could be a good quarterback.
I think you're misconstruing that a little bit. He didn't compare Kenny Pickett and Hurts as players. He was just using that as a narrative to say, hey, a lot of quarterbacks struggle early on in their career. You got to give them some time. You got to give them some grace.
Because a lot of people were talking about how Jalen Hurts was going to be bad the year coming in, or they didn't believe it.
Yeah.
Even with the offense, Daniel Jones was going to be bad. No one expected Daniel Jones. Geno Smith. Obviously, every single situation is different.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, we're only judging Kenny Pickett off of like 9 games.
Yeah.
Like 9 to 10 games. We haven't even seen him in the full
Concussion,
season.
injury, in and out. Yeah, I hear you. I think the offense will be better than it was last year. I'm a little bit hesitant myself on Kenny being the guy, but I do think they'll be better than they were last year. Something that's not sitting right with me, though, as I'm looking at this team, at these teams, I think the Packers need to be in B. The Packers don't sit right with me in C at the moment. Looking at the rest of the teams there, I just think there's too many explosive weapons on the Packers. With Aaron Jones, Dillon, Christian Watson. I think Luke Musgrave's going to be better than people realize. I think they're deserving of B. I don't feel like they are. I don't view them in the same light I do the teams in C.
Sure, I mean, Yeah. I'm happy to put him. I'm happy to put him in C. Yeah, I'm happy to put him in C.
Yeah. Okay, by the way, we have let's give one more minute on the clock for this poll in the chat. It's very close. Jags are at 32%. Chargers have taken the lead at 37%.
Wow.
There are 19 votes so far. So if you have yet to vote, your vote absolutely will make an impact on who joins the Cinderella tier out of A tier. So make sure you're voting on that poll in the chat. Open up the chat box, submit your vote on who you think should be joining Cinderella. And I'm going to put a minute on the clock. And then after that minute is up, that's it. Whoever is winning will go up. Packers are always good. Yeah, you're not wrong there. You're not wrong there. But yeah, this was fun. Again, we wish we could have done a mock draft today, but unfortunately Sleeper was bugging. So let's see what the poll ends up being. Again, 40 seconds left. But yeah, appreciate everyone hanging out with us. Drop a like on the stream if you have yet to do so, just to support what we're doing. What's up, Kev? Welcome in. Drusev, yes, it was the first day that he signed up, which is awesome. Kev likes the Pittsburgh rebound. Silky says, Jags so lucky. Herb and Mike W was hurt. Okay, how much time do we have left on this poll? 10 seconds to submit your votes here. 10 seconds.
Looks like the Jags might take this one.
It's probably the Jags, unless... Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, so the Jags have taken it. They will go into Cinderella. Obviously, a little bit of projecting there. Another year for Trevor Lawrence. Travis Etienne going into his second season where he's healthy. Calvin Ridley joining. So that is what it looks like.
Oh, boy.
It's a collective list. Some things we had to vote on in the chat.
This is what I would say. I wouldn't put the Jags there. I would put the Lions and or the Dolphins above the Jags personally.
Okay.
In Cinderella tier. Not saying I dislike the Jags, but I just think all those teams are ready to compete. But if I had to bank on any of those three teams, it would be the Lions and the Dolphins over the Jags. That's what I would say.
Okay. I am just going to tweet this out. And let's see what the people on the old Twitter sphere think.
Old Twitter sphere. Yeah, man. Good old T-Law, you know?
So that's officially up there. Let's see what the people think. I'm sure some people will have wanted, things to go different ways depending on what, teams they support and whatnot. But I feel relatively good about it. I think, is there anything I would change? I kind of agree that the Jags, Dolphins, Lions all could be deserving of Cinderella. Honestly, I would say the Jags, Dolphins, Lions, Chargers, Jets could all be worthy of Cinderella. But obviously the community voted on that one. Does anything sit with me the wrong way? No, not really. Like I said, the Packers were just frustrating me that it was irking me that they were in C. Watch the Bucks actually be good this year. That would be crazy.
Yeah, I hear you. I
mean, last year we were saying, what about the Seahawks? We're like, they're gonna be a bad team.
Yeah, and
they weren't.
We said the Seahawks. I think we said, who else did we say? I think we said the Seahawks was a bad team. I think we also said the Panthers were gonna be a bad team because they had in the first start of the season. Was it Baker Mayfield?
Baker.
Yeah, we definitely had the Panthers, the Seahawks. I don't remember. That's about it, right? I think we might have had the Browns there with Jacoby.
Yeah.
Maybe he was there. It was more C.
Yeah.
For the Browns because they still, they got Amari Cooper, Nick Chubb, David Njoku at the time. So very interesting.
Marcus, I wouldn't say we're low on the Saints. I mean, I don't think I could put the Saints in the same category as the guys in B, but I love Olave. Outside of Olave, I'm not really pumped on much in New Orleans. I like Kindred as well, but it's not like he's a superstar running back in the NFL. So yeah. But guys, do us a favor, drop a like if you have yet to do so. We'll probably end the stream there. I'm sorry we couldn't do a mock draft today, but Sleeper wasn't working, so kind of out of our control. But enjoy the rest of your day, and we will see you guys here soon. By the way, tomorrow we will be live on the redraft channel.
Redraft channel. Yep.
So if you have yet to subscribe over there, I would encourage you to do so. We'll see you guys tomorrow night on that channel. Come join us, and we'll be live doing some fantasy mock drafts for 2023. That is it. Enjoy the rest of your night, and we'll see you soon. All love.
All love.